Everything we do is
When did that
scripted.
die?
What are you talking about?
So
when did that die?
scripted.
Clip it. When did that die? Fuck.
And I'll say AV.
Someone. What happened? Who did that?
What
was my
in the
fault.
Who
fuck?
did that? Who
That
did
was my fault. I was turning her down and hit the wrong button. That's totally my fault. I'm so sorry.
Did you just
I
boot
need
me?
that clipped now.
Did you just
Yeah.
boot me?
It was on accident.
Eddie?
If you're still in chat, can you mark that timestamp?
Edward.
for somebody? Oh, sweet, sweet internet.
And?
All right then.
I wish you can dribble your sweet juices on me. It's alright. It's just all of us normals lurking in here anyway.
It was mostly like the dribble part that got me.
Yeah. No, the
Dribbles.
sweet, sweet juices is what got to me. But to quote a very great-haired man, hello, Internet, and welcome to Exploring the Archives. We're a place of creative... what do you do? What are the
We are a
things you say?
collective of creative curators that pour our passions into the fine game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Durgans and Baggins.
Damgans and Smungekins.
The damn guns with the bad runs.
Dad's buns and pumpkins.
And pump... my...
What? Go on. Go on.
Where were you headed with that one?
Comes. Pump my comes.
Where the points are made up and the show doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Whatever
we're
Larry said.
going live again.
We're gonna resort.
Yep, but we are discussing chapter 37, a mysterious duo?
Suspicious.
Suspicious, damn it. A little superstitious.
Sus duo.
A sus duo. Very expository episode with a lot of lore that I didn't expect to dump.
Bring on the dump.
What,
yes.
like literally in the beginning of time?
Yes,
Like,
yeah. I we'll get to it, but I really thought that I was gonna stop at, yeah, here's what's going on with your home, deal with that, and then it was, hey, here's everything that's happening in the universe.
You played this long enough.
Yeah.
You should know better.
So that's true. I should have. Good thing I wrote the notes, but yeah, I actually had a lot of fun. But to recap, a quick recap, we started with a Vunra Manor soiree, a pretty large one. that a lot of notable NPCs, not only to the world, but he took a big old Lord Dookie. I did.
Loved it.
Hey, hey friend, I'll give you $20 if you can spell soiree.
Ooh.
There's a U in there. Someone everybody's forgetting.
Nope.
That was a quote from Neighbors.
Oh.
S.
Good start.
C. Exclamation point.
You're getting there. There's a couple more letters. And
W.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps going. AY.
Yeah, no,
All
that's
right.
it. I'm surprised.
So I'm just gonna say
That's silent
Swar.
exclamation mark. right in the middle.
SWAHRAY.
It's French. Soirée. Soirée. S-O-I-R-E. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure.
Gotcha.
Soirée. I could be wrong. So World Wide Web, bend me over and just give me that. I told you so.
But
I don't know.
we had Master Vale there. We had Kane there. We
Two
had
E's.
notable friends of Zio's that we didn't get to dive too much into, but they were there in the what's their last name? Zio?
No.
Because I honestly forgot. I was
No.
only asking you if you could save me
Hey,
on this
DM,
one.
ask me. I was a good boy. And I
What's
took
his
notes.
last name?
Are you asking me now?
Yeah, is it Snowcloak?
It's Snowcloak, yeah.
Okay.
Anzor, Zenny, and Thalion.
I was like,
Thalion was
winter,
your best friend.
snowy.
Phalion. Phalion.
Starts with an F.
With an F. Thalion.
Phalion. Every time I hear Zenny, I really should have changed
Yeah.
it before the session, but I just think of Dragon
Big
Ball
money.
Z.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause that's-
I didn't think of it until the session, and then
It's spelled completely different. In
Yeah.
DBZ, it's ZENI, and here it's ZENNY. But
That's fine. You can just change the name to Goku.
yeah,
That'll be a little bit
yeah,
more off.
Chi-Chi and Vegeta.
I mean, you should just call
They-
your best friend Dragon Ball Z.
My best friend's dragons on my balls. Z. But they were there. We also had a friend that June made during the 2 weeks downtime that wasn't planned to be there until we
I
discussed
invited
downtime a day before.
That's how they were.
Yep. Well, I'm saying like that person didn't, in your guys' world exist until the day before when June did her downtime stuff and ran into her. But
that's fun.
the blacksmith that Jay didn't want there, but
That was so.
You
That was
it's not that I didn't want him.
you
there.
specifically
I
did
didn't
it.
there.
I asked
Yeah.
you in your downtime, would you invite? You're like, nah, he doesn't belong.
Yeah, that was a Zio thought. I mean, I've got no problem with the blacksmith. He obviously made me an
I have a lot of
awesome
black.
He has a name.
Like I said, I do not have my notes.
Yusuf.
I work with a black.
Yeah, Yusuf.
I have no problem with the blacksmith. I have a lot of blacksmith friends.
Yeah.
I'm bad with names,
my
alright? But no, yeah, that was
sounds like
that's
something
definitely a Zio thought.
Oh, that one broke me. That was. I have a lot of blacksmith friends. Oh man. All right, sorry, but I
It was
just
good though, and we ended up inviting
How
him
dare
anyway.
you laugh?
there was so much overlay, and I was laughing at, and that was really funny. And Jay even Jay texted me, so it was something else. But then when Eddie went to the High Crest Lodge, who the Snowcloaks own, and it's Zio's friend, who is the only person. He's like, hey, I invite this family. And and then Erden goes there and just dumps on them. Like mid conversation, just walks away from one of the owners and then just hands a drink to the other one and leaves with the glass with his other drink in it.
It sucked butt.
Yeah, and then Jay texted me, I'm so glad that he went there
Yeah.
before he showed up. That's why I was laughing so hard. And I know Jay was muted, but I know he was dying.
I was laughing too. Yeah, I was dying. I didn't want to give anything away.
I was actually kind of hoping, Jay, did you talk about your backstory at all during stream? Of some of the promiscuous things you did?
No, I did not.
Are you keeping that secret?
Not necessarily. No,
Well,
I
What'd you
didn't.
do?
Well, I was just going to mention that the Elven Whispers that
Yeah.
Uridin got directed to, I was hoping that he went there because that would have been something else that him and Zio would have had in common. So,
Cool.
but that's why he
I'm glad you're
walked.
part of this.
He walked outside and was just like, no, and then leaves.
No.
Yeah, I didn't expect Uridan having trying to get a date. That
I
threw
didn't
me.
expect that natural one trying to flirt.
Yeah, he said he was on vacation mode, and apparently vacation mode includes
Whoring?
significant others. Yeah.
That's true.
Getting laid.
Yeah, getting the lades.
Getting laid.
What, Lutz? Do you not have a lot of blacksmith friends? But during the soiree, Kane arrived with June's old mentor, Miara, a very elegant and beautiful elven woman who you all discovered was part of the Esoteric Assembly as well. Newly, well, relatively, for the past year.
New in Demaster, she said.
No, she has only been in the Esoteric Assembly for a year. Just overall.
BlackRock.
BlackRock. Oh. Love inside jokes. I'll be a part of one someday.
No, you did mention that Miara was recently promoted to Master, though, right?
Recently promoted to Master, but she's only been in the Assembly for a year total.
Yeah.
She's not good.
You said it was normal for high power people to get there.
Yeah.
No, she's not good.
Yeah,
No
I
better
would.
than Kane.
Yeah, I would assume like the way I looked at it too was like, if you got like,
You fail.
I don't know, someone who's like a level 10 adventurer that joins the Esoteric Assembly, you know, I'd say they would very quickly rise through the ranks. You know, they'd probably within a month be past where you are now. But that's just because everything leading up to that, they probably have already done it. You know, they're not just like, you know, farmhand. They're like, what do I do?
What do I do? I'm here now. What do I do?
You got to teach me stuff that. But and I think that was everybody of your guys' friends and interests, right? I don't
What
think anybody
was-
else.
Besides my master.
was Uridan?
Oh, Master Vale. That's right.
Yeah.
Master Vale also was there.
What was Uridan's date's name?
Are you
Avina.
asking me? Yeah. And,
What was it?
Avina. Or Anivia, because I kept calling her
It's
Nvidia.
Anivia. It's Anivia.
Nivea.
Nivea.
Eniva, Anivia, or Nvidia. So
Eniva.
yeah,
Aniva. Also was
Aniva.
Aniva.
Yeah. And then during the party, there was a lot of expositing towards finding out that Miara had acquired a legendary artifact for herself, a staff
She's a queen.
that
Oh, the
helped
staff.
her.
I thought she...
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's a
go ahead.
staff that helped her do a more thorough and powerful detect magic on your hometown, which is what she noticed that the weave is damaged there, and that what's it called? No, that is why everything has happened, and a potential reason that your family disappeared. And there's
circle it. I must have missed her head dressing description as the item in question. So she was holding that staff like she was just like
Summoned it.
she
like
she
Drake-
said
Drake.
she said a
Oh.
command word and summoned it to herself, and then said another command word and dissipated it.
That's why Anthony asked if any of us spoke Celestial.
That's right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I forgot to pick the rest of my languages. I just realized
I speak you now.
I speak. Yeah, that'd be a little dumb to do, but I speak common and then deep speech. Okay, it's just DMD filled it in, but yeah, I can speak like this, or I could, but like 90 dB slower.
Sounds like a pigman from Blockcraft.
It probably is.
I
never played that game.
But it's funny. This is like normally we have to go like section by section, but not really too much happened. I guess since not too much happened in the beginning of the episode, is there anything you guys want to talk about or ask questions about of your 2 weeks off to each other? If anything you guys want to, if anything like fun things that you want to, and if it's too fun, save it for in roleplay because there is a lot of fun stories that can
It's
still
roleplay
come
right
out.
now.
But
okay, well, I guess you can tell me if this is too fun, but this has been like eating me up because I haven't had a chance to.
if you want to talk about it, yeah, I mean, none of you had. If you're about to talk about it, I know it has nothing to do with like overall like lore. It's just something funny that happened.
Ecclesias, why were you tired and exhausted and out of breath when you came to train with Zio and me?
I don't know about saying I was out of breath. I'm a very in shape
You looked
kitty.
like shit.
Um,
This is description I got.
well, I'm gonna throw you. I'm gonna throw you a bone. But I don't want to reveal too much because there's already a lot going on. And like I mentioned with episode 37, that I thought it might have been a bad time to be like, hey guys, I used to be a murderer.
Did you go murder?
I did, yeah. Oh, I already told you. Just went around just stabbing kids. I don't drink alcohol, so I had to get. Yeah, that's my.
I
bad.
drink children's tears. Is what I drink.
I don't smoke. I don't eat too much junk food. I don't drink, but I do just kill children.
Okay.
That's my thing.
I do a stab at the
reason-
child.
Balances
I
out.
stab at balances out.
Stab at the
The
kids.
reason why
part of a
Ecclesias
balanced
was so
Cheers of
kids, they're what's for breakfast.
Hi, Whimsy.
Hey, Wims. The reason why Ecclesias was so disheveled and not put together and, like all greasy fur and tired is because he had not been sleeping for almost 2 weeks. Essentially, I guess mechanically getting short rests in. But I imagine if we followed the mechanics, I probably would have had several points of exhaustion.
Yeah,
to the
you'd
point of
probably
actually dying.
Yeah, you probably have like 2 or 3, and then having to
least
take
3,
and then having to take a long rest. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you'd be having some late nights. Hey, Jag. Don't worry about
Hey,
sticking
Jag.
around, but hello, you beautiful.
Hello.
Hope you're having a beautiful day.
Thanks for popping.
Thanks
But
for popping.
Ecclesias has been doing a lot of.
Shady shit.
Yeah, what you doing? Why you no sleeping?
I'm not sleeping because a lot of the things I needed to do, I needed the cover of darkness. And the cover
not
of
fetch.
darkness only happens
At dark.
at dark times.
Yeah.
What time of day are dark times? I'm confused.
It depends on what time of the dark year it is.
Opposite.
I don't know. It seems to
opposite of
always be
light times.
noon. So
And
It's always new.
so Ecclesias has been putting out his whiskers and his claws to try to. It's hard to. Honestly, I can't say much. Ecclesias has had a lot of long nights these 2 weeks. He's probably had maybe 3 or 4 long rests to the point of like not dying from exhaustion. And I've been splitting my time between Uthran, the city, I'm just going to leave it vague, and the Esoteric Assembly. And one of those turned out to be quite a rabbit trail that Ecclesias didn't want to get away and wanted to make sure that sounds boring because it's just so vague, but I've been spending a lot of time using a lot of my skills that I actually haven't used in roleplay or combat yet to try to advance plot points.
were you trying to find your contact?
No.
Okay.
What about you? What about you? What about you, Jess? What do you want to
Yeah.
talk about your off time?
I don't know. What you guys want to know? Let the
Everything.
furniture maker.
All right, I'll keep it so because we could talk about this forever. But what is the most fun event? Because everybody had events that happened in the city, but for you, what was the most fun event out of? I think you're 4 or 5 things that happened. What is the funniest or the one that you want to share?
Okay. I guess.
Oh,
I
I
guess,
forgot about another one. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess the funniest because I don't know if it'll come up because I was completely alone. So, how Zio, which is a question that I have that you can answer after, is how did you get your drugs in your wooden thing? One of my days in exploring the city, I saw a drug deal going on, and I saw. Well, okay, so I didn't like immediately be like, it's a drug deal. I saw this one guy go up to this hooded figure, say, I'm here on a mutual companion, and then give
It's
a
the
code
Jack.
word. So I remembered what he said and the code word. And I went up to the guy, said the same thing, and he gave me drugs. And I decided to go out and after
them.
after some
Did you try the drugs?
I went out and I did them.
I'm getting
Yeah.
there. Let me tell my story. And
Sorry.
June was working on something herself, and after kind of hitting like a roadblock with that, she decided to get out of the city for a night, go camp and like meditate and kind of be alone. And I decided to try one of the
Gang, gang, gang,
capsules.
gang, 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 gang.
It's basically me in the forest by myself.
Yeah.
But the drugs that I took,
You had a Nordic seance, is what you had. You
I
just took
did.
drugs and were like,
and I talked to all the plants, and
What did they say?
basically
back?
that they don't mind humans as long as we leave them alone. And yes,
I
they
didn't
did
have it
speak
in.
back, but they didn't understand the concept of speaking. So that was like part of the conversation as to what was going on between me and the plants.
yeah, because it
How
wasn't
did they
just
feel
like
about
mud and
communicate.
poultry?
It was like a full conversation she could have
Yeah.
now. And that's why they're like, she's like, do you always talk like this? They're like, I don't even know what talking is.
Oh, I have a question
So,
about that.
Yeah,
So like
I went out,
once like
I talked to
it
plants, got real high, and then I rolled on my come down. So June literally right now thinks that there are no consequences to this drug. So
you rolled what on your come down?
I rolled well. I like had no bad consequences. So it's great. I got 9 more. So
It's like Grog with the deck of many things. As far as I'm concerned, nothing but good things happen when you
Yeah.
pull it
Yeah.
up.
He's not wrong.
Pretty
He
much.
got like
He's not
nothing
wrong.
but good
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. But I have a
So-
question about how that drug works. So it's like you would imagine it'd be like the Babelfish and Douglas Adams' world where like everything is speaking, but you can't understand that until that Babelfish goes in. So like when like the drug hit, did you like all of a sudden just hear a cacophony like in What Women Want when Mel Gibson's in the mall, which is sexist, but was it,
sort
did
of.
you just like all of a sudden like these grass blades were just like, I can't fucking stand it, man, I'm here every single day. Oh wait, she's looking at me. She's looking at me
think-
like she can hear me.
I
Like
think
when
the way
Morty
that
can start hearing
Anthony
the squirrels.
I think the way that Anthony described it was I started hearing like just like faint like whispers of them talking amongst themselves. And then
You
I
heard
went up-
communication. You didn't hear
Yeah, but
speech.
it wasn't like like I heard something going on and then I was like, what's that? So I went up to like a little bee plant and talked to him first and then I was like, I'm gonna go up to this tree. And that's the one that I asked how they feel about humans. And yeah, as long
What did
as
they feel
we-
about non-human races?
I don't know.
They hated him.
I didn't ask that.
Trees are
Yeah.
just racist in D&D.
Racist trees. We see you there. You're racist trees.
Canon now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, what
That's
was
fun.
out of your experiences? Because you had quite a few too. What was your funniest one you'd like to share?
I had quite a few, and if you guys wanted, I could run down them all real quick because I didn't do a whole lot.
If you want, yeah, do what you want.
It was so Zio went and explored Uthron. He didn't leave Uthron the entire time, but he wanted to see the rest of the city that he grew up in because he didn't see a lot of it.
For 50 years.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
yeah, that's when he found the drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just this, I was walking down street or alley or something like that, and some crazy old
Ooh, piece of
lady's
candy.
like, "Here, this doll was meant for you. You're supposed to buy it." And I was like, "Okay." So I bought it.
It's your
and
destiny.
It had drugs inside of it.
It's your destiny.
Buy this doll. Ooh. Sorry.
Let's see what else.
There's one down.
Yeah, there was a few small things that happened through my exploring the city. But let's see, I also spent some time training with Kane and Alar. Not digging into him at all or anything like that, just some training, spending some more time with him. Was looking to see if he was acting fishy at all, but he wasn't. Let's see. I also I got laid. Had a good time with that.
What was their
We're at the
name?
brothel.
Paid to get laid.
How do they look?
Go to what was it? The Elven Whispers.
Describe
Yeah.
their body.
What's the Elven Whispers?
That's the brothel's name, is the
I-
Elven Whispers?
Yes. Yeah, that was
What
the one
is-
that Eddie got directed to, or Erden got directed to.
And he's
to
like,
go
I'm trying to
inside.
find a date. And then they're like, yeah, there's a brothel.
Yeah.
They
and
like everybody
then-
there.
I don't
Zio
see brothels
had
as a
his sword
negative
made.
thing in this world. Like, I don't.
It's not. It's like normalized.
Sex work,
in
sex
the-
working is not
Yeah.
a negative thing in general.
Yeah, true. But it's just
Hey,
like I
gotta
feel
make that
like when
money.
Eddie was like, "Oh, it's a brothel," and it's like,
Maybe he was just more bummed he couldn't like
have feelings,
naturally
too.
pick up on a girl.
"Oh, maybe."
Man, this stripper really likes me.
He didn't want to pay.
Yeah, he's just being
Right.
cheap.
He was being cheap.
Yeah, Zio spent quite a decent chunk of the money that was allotted to him.
On the brothel? What did
On
you
lady
get? Like
favors?
20 at one time?
There was a decent chunk spent on that, but most of it went to
No, you did right.
the longsword that was created for him.
You and Alar spent a lot on your weapons.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
might as well.
Yeah, I got some nice mithril blades. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
I think that's about all that Zio did on his downtime.
Jeremy, we talked about the for lack of a better term, darker side of what you did, but you had some funny experiences too and things you ran
I was
into.
just-
So what
yeah, I was
what would
just
you what stood out
recalling
for
them.
you?
I was gonna ask Zio, when you had met that strange old lady that decided to say that it was your destiny to buy this wooden doll, did you ever overhear her complain about cats or cats she used to have or anything like that?
I don't.
You know what?
think
For
so.
because it's funnier, yeah.
What
Let's say he
happened?
did.
What'd
Let's say it's the same lady.
Let's say it's the same lady.
So she's like, "All right, sweet. I finally pawned off those drugs on some kid," and she comes back to find Ecclesius. As I was doing my secret stuff, I happened upon a dilapidated building, and as I opened the door, I was surrounded by, quote, a colony of undead cats,
Oh,
unquote.
Jesus.
Colony. So like, there's like a hierarchical.
Oh yeah, I want
Structure.
to see if I can find the
Yeah,
whole
it's,
thing.
quote, colony of undead
They have a
cats.
class system.
Yeah, they probably had like an economy or maybe like a bartering system. So Ecclesius, not wanting them to get out, killed them all.
You killed
I-
the undead.
I killed that entire colony of undead cats. And when I had left that building thinking I had done a good for the kingdom of Uthran, I was met by a very angry, older, grumpy woman who said that those were her cats. There's nothing wrong with them.
Anthony.
I killed her family. I killed the colony. I killed the colony. That was a part of her life. So that happened, and I just like, sorry, just moved on with my life. There was another thing. I was gonna bring this up later, but I had a peculiar run-in with Atticus Bell. And yeah, ooh, indeed.
Find him at the brothel.
I was fucking eyes deep in tits, and I was just moved one out of the way, and I was like, "Is that you, Atticus?" He was like, blah, blah, blah. But
Lovely description.
yeah, part the boobs, and I saw a friend. But I was doing some tasks for the Esoteric Assembly, and one of them was to him, and he paid a pretty penny, pretty electrum, for an item that I don't know what it was. Or was that the thing that Anthony, was that the hat thing? Was that the thing? No, that was just a random thing. That was just random. Never mind. So there was something that Atticus Bell wanted that he paid about 100 electrum for, which is a lot. And he put it in a chest with an arcane seal. So I don't know what to make of that, but I don't kiss and tell. I don't sell and tell. So that might come up later. But Atticus Bell, who's a very smooth-talking gentleman, yeah, is now not on my radar, but definitely piques my interest. But everything else that I did, I would like to. And obviously, we met up June, Ecclesias, and Zio, so you guys can help me hone some of my abilities with my new Thunder Step and Aura of Vitality. So that was cool. But that was like towards the tail end of my 2 weeks, which is why I was all just like, okay, can we do this now? I'm so tired.
Yeah, my favorite thing that happened to all of you, there's a lot of funny things. June had some, like, funny things. Y'all did, but I really just liked when Jeremy pointed out a colony of undead cats. Yeah,
That was the
probably,
increment.
yeah. A desk full of Cheez-Its. Where are you getting these measurements? But, moving
That's
on.
hamburgers worth.
Yeah, moving on to, I guess we'll say the meat and potatoes, and mostly Miara. How'd you feel was it when I said her eye color? Is that when it was like, motherfucking bitch?
Yeah, so basically when Anthony and I had done my 2 weeks thing, he had also asked me some backstory questions.
That was
like,
the only reason why I didn't want to spoil it, but that's the only reason why I asked you what everybody looked like.
some clarification, like backstory questions, and I had given him that description recently, and then when he started describing it in the session, I was like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
So yes, immediately as soon as you described like the eyes and the hair, I was like, okay.
What did you, so, we'll just, because this is going to be a big point, what'd you think of her being part of the assembly?
Okay, so we'll do June first. June is still suspicious of the assembly. She's kind of got a little bit of her guard up as far as the assembly is concerned, but as far as Miara is concerned, she's known her previously and trusts her. Now Jess, on the other hand, feels like Anthony is plotting against all of us and making all of our mentors BBEGs, and we're gonna have this like really awful experience.
It'd be a
where all
fun
of the
fight.
people- Yeah, no, it'd be great but awful at the same time, because it would be all of these people that we trusted and taught us what we know, just turning out to be evil or with conflicting ideals. And yeah, so the thing that concerns me the most is that the symbol that Uridin saw on Kane's scabbard, and the fact that Kane and her are so close, that it makes me worry.
Does
Does
it
that
make you...
make June and Zio brother and sister, or like?
I guess
Yeah,
as
how-
much as
I actually have a
Jess and I are brother and sister right now.
how close?
Explain that one for the World Wide Web.
How close are
If we share
Miara
that-
and Kane?
How close are you to what?
Miara
How
and Kane.
close are Miara and Kane? What is their relationship?
That's a
They
good question.
Have
they
they done it?
Probably. They probably have.
didn't
They've adventured for a few years together. You know, they probably pretty close. Yeah. Let's look at it this way. At the end of the night, they would still be in different rooms.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say share a tent. So
No, Kane would go to
Fuck
his.
would they be in a tent?
There's this
if
mansion.
they were,
I want a tent.
no, not literally like tonight, like the night at the end of the session. You said they've been adventuring for a long time. You stayed.
Oh.
Goddamn.
In the past, they've been adventuring for a
They
long
probably
time.
just like summon Lehman's tiny hut.
Yeah. No, Kane would stay in his own room. Miara would stay in her own room, which you guys would know because we're kind of fast forwarding after this session anyway.
But equal.
But yeah, you can. The way they got along well, we'll say.
I got a
Did one
question
of them
for
shoot
you
down
about
the
that.
other? Was one interested and the other one wasn't?
Oh, something to explore.
But I have a question
I'll ask her.
for you about that, Jess. Do you think that you're being a little stitious about too many things when it's, you know, Occam's razors might make you believe that Miara just traded up for that shit ass town with no name and joined a winning group of people? The Esoteric Assembly. Because obviously
Level
everybody
up.
that you've met there is pretty cool. Did your shit ass town have a name yet? Mine doesn't yet.
Don't break the illusion. Stop.
That's the town name. It doesn't yet.
So, like I said, like June is just suspicious. She's not there, as we were talking about earlier. There's no hard evidence. It's a soft sus that I just have.
Cost 2 silver
feeling-
depending on where you go.
It's a soft
I have
sauce.
a feeling that, yeah, that just everything that we've been told
Don't
and
be suspicious.
everything
Don't
that
be
we've
suspicious.
I know that's stuck in my head constantly.
Fuck you, dude.
But everything that we've kind of discovered from different sources per se points to the Esoteric Assembly's involvement somehow. Do I think that everybody in the Esoteric Assembly may be involved? No. Seems like a pretty big organization. But I think that they have a part to play, and I just hope that the people I know that are part of the assembly are not part of the part that is playing a part.
Yeah, that's the definition of confirmation or cognitive dissonance.
By the way,
Just like-
Jeremy, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. You got yourself. Had you said nothing, I wouldn't have realized you said it.
I
well,
got him.
Oh, you
yeah,
messaged
no.
him?
Yeah, Jake messaged me and he was like, "Whose town doesn't have a name?" And I was gonna be like, "Well, Jess is in." But, oh, fuck you.
Feel free to do them on stream if you'd like. Yeah,
Because there is no rule.
you don't have to if you don't want to. But yeah, I
No,
I
I
want
don't want to do it.
I want the Elven Whispers. Their top like thing is soft sus. Just to explain to everybody, we're in the game of life, and Jeremy lost, so he has to do 10 push-ups. Welcome to the game.
I love it. I hope I lose more. Was that 12? I stopped counting.
Yeah. You hope you lose more pounds.
Wow. Expect more from you.
Where you going? He just leaves.
Doing a bit.
I
I was just doing a bit.
like the door didn't even open.
Yeah.
Just
Back
walked
my
into the
ass.
closet. That's in the
So-
corner of that room.
Something
I can poop and touch myself.
even
Sure,
after
back
the
into
session, when we talk about like all the "Hey Anthony, fuck you," which is predominantly what happens after every session.
Hey, you.
Not wrong.
Jay, how does Zio feel now? Like, because everybody, and like Ecclesias too. Actually, no, yeah, this is for both of you. Everybody's like, the Esoteric Assembly's bad. Now Kane's evil, you know, pointing fingers to you two specifically. Now, what do you guys think as we do players than characters, but does your characters kind of go like, "Hi, so, how's that book coming along?"
Is that why you did that?
when
Is that why you did that, Anthony?
how do your characters feel now that June and Uridan have been the biggest, but June has definitely been like, yeah, they're sus, fuck them. How do they feel now knowing that Miara, who is, you know, with the exception of her family, the closest person in her life, is part of the assembly, and not just part of the assembly, but very
Up there.
very bonded with Kane.
So, I'm not even sure that Zio saw the assemblage on Miara's hands.
You would have heard the discussion though. She would have said it multiple times. that
That's
she's part
right.
of the
Yeah,
assembly.
that's right. She did say. So yeah, Zio's definitely going. What about now, Jess or June? Because yeah, it's in Zio's mind. There's that suspicion, especially not only because if it was just the Esoteric Assembly, that would be one thing, but to have all of the assemblage of the 3 different organizations, that's sketchy. But Zio doesn't want to acknowledge it too much, but he can't completely avoid it. So, you know, he's keeping an eye out.
Would you say soft sus?
Yeah, there's some soft sus there.
Okay.
But
It's morning sus.
Soft morning sus.
Some soft sus.
But yeah,
you all
he's
know
not,
what I mean when I say it.
he's not jumping like to the conclusion that Kane's in on this or anything like that. No matter how much Erden hears whispers of him talking to people and whatever, he's still going to trust Kane until
Death do us part.
some real hard evidence comes across. As a
my God.
player,
Hard sus.
As a player, it's I'm still in that same boat that Zio's in. Is Jess, you're still thinking the same thing? But another thing was like Zio thought he was just a really cool guy and having his mentor around when nobody else,
Aw,
he had
shit.
Ecclesius, but now he's kind of jealous that there's another mentor around.
Two mentors.
Yeah.
You got Vale and Miara all on the same balcony.
Vale was always around, but the relationship
nothing.
between Vale and Ecclesius is definitely very different from the relationship that Kane and I have.
True.
So
Yeah, Vale's proud of me.
Yeah, that's definitely Master and Apprentice versus more brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have a different bond too that Ecclesius notices.
And I'm kind of thinking that June and Miara have that same kind of relationship, at least a lot closer than Vale and Ecclesius. So yeah, there's that kind of jealousy of well, I'm not the special one anymore. But yeah, it was shocking to kind of see our two mentors being in an adventuring party previous to our own. So that was it's really cool, interesting, and that's gonna lead to some stuff. I know it.
What about you, Jeremy?
Well, I think everybody's already maybe a little bit more than a soft sauce on Ecclesius being the sleeper, but this also plays a part into. I'm gonna end up spoiling something. I might as well just jump into it. The Black Chalice, we know nothing of. Well, anyways,
Okay.
Ecclesius is almost leaning towards the Bureau not even being bad in the first place. Because of all, mind you, keep in mind where Ecclesius jumped into the story. And killing somebody, Lennon, was I want to say one of the first people outside of his past that he helped kill, which made him think about all the old bullshit. But just not to get too bogged down with silly stuff. Ecclesius is looking at the Esoteric Assembly as maybe a couple bad apples, but 90+% good. And then now he's hopeful that June sees Miara in it and be like, see, your old mentor that taught you everything and that would ever hurt you because you were her little pupil is part of this group. He was evil. They wouldn't let her in. And if Kane, who's been nothing but helpful, is part or dating somebody in the Esoteric Assembly and has the symbols of all of these things, maybe the Bureau is not a bad thing. So we have to figure out what's up with the Black Chalice, which is what a lot of the downtime was kind of allocated with Ecclesius. Because that's the last part that's really going to help bring this all together. Because Ecclesius doesn't think the Esoteric Assembly is evil. He's not convinced that the Bureau is evil. Because we met one person that defected, one person that was ostracized from the group because he was fucking crazy, Vovek. And then we murdered one person that was essentially saying that we were wrong for what we were doing. And Ecclesius felt that way too by killing Lennon. Because Lennon didn't do anything to us. He fucking didn't. He didn't do anything evil to us.
We're wrong, and so
Therefore die.
There we go.
Because
Fucking dare you.
we met him before, And June sold the Displacer Beast to Lennon and his group. Fair and square. He was cordial. He kept to his word. He didn't try to murder hobo us. So yeah, there's a lot of conflicting ideology, I think, behind everybody's perception of this Paul Syndicate, which is why I'm really excited to find out more about the Black Chalice. That might really decide it.
So I would like to point out that, yes, Lennon, we may have been a little hasty, but the way that I see the Bureau is that we were specifically told that their goal is to incite war. Someone from the Bureau had Lord Nudal assassinated. And if their goal is to incite war and they're picking
Was
up...
Needle part of the Bureau, though? I think that they were just... I don't think Needle was part of the Bureau.
Yeah, to clarify, since somebody else pointed out, no. They pointed out that they hired somebody that not necessarily part of the Bureau.
But still, they hired somebody to assassinate somebody.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest.
And their main goal is to incite war. So unless they have a very good, morally good reason for inciting war, I would say that we still oppose their ideals. Lennon, the way that I see it is that they're like an organization that has like a big goal. They don't waste their time with like petty little shit. So yeah, Lennon didn't have any reason to murder hobo us or anything like that. And
really do anything wrong.
Yeah, and the reason that Vovek was kicked out of the Bureau was that he was ruining their like long-term plan. Does that make the long-term plan or the Bureau good? I don't think so. I think that they are just they're more than just like a lowly thieves guild or you know, a bunch of like criminals. As far as the Black Chalice is concerned, the only thing that we know that was told from Truster is that the Black Chalice is an old criminal organization that has not been seen for a very long time.
Until Ecclesia saw them.
But until he had rumors. But yeah, as far as like active, like I guess instances or encounters with people that identified themselves as Black Chalice, from what Chester had said, is it has been a long time since they were kind of at large per se.
That's true. That's why we had the we, meaning at least June and Ecclesias, I can't remember whose side who was on when we were talking about like, well, okay, if the Bureau is this big evil organization that's hell-bent on pitting the two largest kingdoms on the west side of Falbion against each other in all-out war, and Vovek defected and he was fucking with their plan, that would give credence to Vovek having some morality that aligns with ours. And then obviously we knew he was... The whole Raven Queen thing came into play, but that's why this is really tricky because... Yeah, I'm just saying, like, before we started to learn about the Raven Queen and all that stuff and how maybe we don't even know all about that, about the mistake that she may have made, or she did this all on purpose. And so, yeah, like, the whole Paul Syndicate is going to get really sticky because one group, Ecclesias, is not convinced is evil. Because some people don't like pizza. That doesn't mean they're evil. They just don't have the same values as you. Even though we know that the Bureau, that one dude at least, was just like, we're trying to incite war. But he was like a low bitch. So maybe he didn't even really know all of it.
But we also asked him, what is, like, specifically, we asked him, what is the Bureau's goal? Like, what do they want?
Does a lowly Team Rocket grunt with like one Zubat know what Giovanni wants to do with like his whole world?
I think
like,
that they want it. That they are.
We're gonna take over the world. It's like, but
they're
why?
Probably in the know with the overarching plan.
But that is actually a really good point on Jeremy's note. Whether it's like, actually, we'll bring it out of the Bureau of Evality, and even though Jess still thinks the Esoteric Assembly is evil, but like. Ecclesias doesn't know the slightest of an inkling of what the leader of the Esoteric Assembly wants to do. What his goals are, what his aspirations are for it. He doesn't know. You know?
So Ecclesias would say, I don't know. But Cinder had an answer, which makes me think that it's like a...
I also got one tied like a bitch.
Oh, well, okay.
That's why I like
Try to
to.
survive a
Yeah,
disintegration.
but that's why I like the
Yeah.
Giovanni thing too. Not trying to give you guys a definite answer, but I'm enjoying how you guys are giving both sides of the coin without me having to put anything in it. But like, yeah, for an evil, we're gonna take over the world. But Giovanni's like, we're not taking over the world, you idiot. I just want the power for me. I don't give a fuck about any of you.
So I think that Jeremy has a good point with all this, especially if you consider the fact of we, as the collective, have experienced 2 kingdoms throughout this continent, and it's a very small fraction of the continent. And we have some people traveling with us from some further parts, specifically Uridin and Cthulhu, but they weren't dealing with any sort of geopolitics or anything like that. So if we were to actually be able to see the big picture, maybe these the Bureau and the Paul Syndicate as a whole, maybe they're trying to do something that's Uthran and Solaria are getting in the way of, that's ultimately good. Or, we are looking at things on a very small scale. And yes, with the Giovanni thing, maybe their one grunt thinks this, and that's what but they're also probably dealing with the same small scale thing. Maybe if a war happened, it would be to prevent a, continent-wide war or something cataclysmic like that. So
Or maybe
not
there could
only-
be.
There's-
Sorry.
I was just
Go
going
ahead.
to say, not only finding out about the Black Chalice, but finding out where this organization sits on a world scale rather
Morality.
than just a kingdom scale. And
I think the biggest point that you said there, and this is not me revealing things, but like, this war could, a war between them could help the entire, continent. And this, again, I'm not being like, yeah, this is what's happening. But if Uthran was particularly evil in comparison to the rest of the continent that you guys haven't seen, and the Bureau's like, God, we need to start a war, because Solaria is definitely going to win, because they're a lot bigger, so that means Uthran's gone. So that means everybody else's interests are protected. Like, that's a really good way to look at it. Well, really, not good. There's no good or bad. It's an interesting way to look at it.
but especially if with the location of Uthran, like obviously Uthran's the best city in this continent because that's where Zio's from.
It's a kingdom.
But
Are you talking about
I'm
specifically
about
the city? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yes, Uthran #1.
Sure, Zio
but
with like the fucking number
Foam
1
finger.
fan.
Yeah,
phone
just-
finger.
One thing.
You're
Merch.
black.
There's a merch idea. Just a foam
There.
figure
Yeah.
that says Uthran #1.
Number 1.
But with its location, and if Uthran was actually trying to plan something, particularly evil, or it was just heading that direction, it would make sense for a larger geopolitical power to say, hey, Solaria, deal with that. Like, because we have nowhere else to go except for through Solaria.
Yep, that's actually, if you look at it in terms of like risk, it's like you cut that off because they don't have like Solaria's border and Uthran. Like Uthran's border is like right here, right? And Solaria's border comes up to about here. So there's about that little section that is something you guys don't know. But even if it's another kingdom or if it's just dead space, that's Uthran's out, right? So yeah, you're not wrong. That's you rush in and they only got one way to go, and you can't just take boats out with a kingdom,
I do want to point one thing out though, is that another source of information was Brick. And Brick saying that he specifically left the Bureau and all of the awful, terrible things that they had him do. So maybe.
Wait, what was your realization?
I just thought about using a part of my 2 weeks to be in communication with Brick.
Oh, no, you can
That
do
would've
it
been
on-
good.
Yeah,
We'll do it later.
he's just like, I'm dead. Ah.
Sorry, can't answer the phone right now. I'm dead.
He was another kind of source of some information and insight into that. And his insight was that he advised us not to join them. He got himself out.
I cannot
Anyway.
believe that was almost the thing. Like, if how much you guys hate the Bureau now,
Hey,
other than
without
Ecclesias, you guys are like, no, let's join them and then take them out from the inside.
You
Like the
gave me a
hippie
very
becoming a lawyer to
cryptic
fight it from the
Raven
inside.
Queen vision, and I didn't know what to do with that. Okay,
Well, did you understand it now?
wondering-
not still no,
Do you get it now?
still no.
What if the war between Uthron and Solaria is necessary? Because now we're learning from Miara that there is a very strong entity, person, even just multitudes of people with items that are ravaging the magical weave, the arcane weave that binds all things together, through which your powers are derived, and most people that can sling spells. So what if there's something that the Bureau and the Esoteric Assembly and the Black Chalice know, that they're like, okay, we don't want millions to die. We also don't want billions to die, and we don't want the entire fabric of the universe to explode. So that being said, every time somebody slings a spell, they manipulate the weave of the arcane. It ripples even past the effects that we see we can physically interact with, like when you get hit by a firebolt, like that, like ripples out, like in The Hobbit when he plucks the web and just keeps going. So what if they're trying to incite a war because they know that they're both powerful factions? It's not just going to be fought with iron and steel. There are going to be a lot of spell slingings going on, and depending on how badly one side wants to win, there could be some powerful things happening. So maybe that shakes up the weave and either distracts from what's going on or helps heal something in a weird way. But like what Jake said is that, yeah, we are level 6. And we are learning things, crumbs, before we find out which, like if it fell off a loaf of bread, or if it's something crazy we don't even understand yet.
I think ultimately, yeah, like what you guys are saying is that we don't know enough to make a definitive decision. I think that where I stand is that from the things that I've heard and the things that I know so far, that I am suspicious of said organizations having intentions that are not, I guess, advisable or aligned with my own. I just keep thinking
What are
of,
your
like,
values?
I just keep thinking of like Thanos. Like me as a person, like, yeah, I kind of get it. Like, all right. But also
Everything
there's a
balance.
flip side to that where a lot of people suffer. So I feel like ultimately it's going to come down to something along those lines where it's not necessarily black and white and we can see one way or the other, but I guess kind of deciding which way we think we agree with. With the new information as far as like the weave being torn, it kind of leads me to think that there is something bigger out there, which then if I put my tinfoil hat on, as Eddie would say, I wonder if the Paul Syndicate is working for this person. I guess my initial reaction is not that they would be trying to prevent that. That maybe if they incited a war between Solaria and Uthron, both kingdoms would be preoccupied or damaged and weakened, and this entity that can rip towns from just damaging the weave can kind of sweep in and make a move.
What?
Yeah, there's a lot. Let's just go dungeon diving, kill some
I
goblins,
told
and
you
get some
that's
loot.
I put my
Go back to-
I put my tinfoil hat on.
So I guess just to kind of narrow back down to specifically last session, what is the collective going to do now? Now that she is kind of giving you direction, because Vale and Miara said, unfortunately, we don't really get too much free time. And this is, like Will Turner. This is my one day ashore. I got to go back to work, so I can't accompany you there. So is June going to be like, all right, I kind of have more direction. We need to go there and try to figure this out.
I guess, like I would hope to talk to Miara a little bit more before we leave, but, yeah, if her advice was to go back to the town and specifically look for, you know, the weave and see if I can get something from it that she wasn't able to get with a legendary item, then yeah, I would take her advice, and that would be where I would want to start. And yeah, I would try to have the collective go with me, because in the sense of kind of where my thought process was what could have possibly done this, and if who or what did this, what else could they do?
Right. And I do want to point out, because if that gets brought up again, 'cause that's an actual concern of, you know, well, the super magic item couldn't do it, well, how are we going to do it? I will say, it might be very powerful, but a Vorpal sword can't teleport you. You know, it's like, Vorpal sword is like the strongest weapon in terms of a sword in D&D.
That one thing.
Yeah,
Called
but
the Vorpal sword?
Vorpal.
Vorpal.
Just to give you some of the stats, if you roll a natural 20, no matter what you're fighting, you decapitate the thing. So it's a legendary item, very strong. You can be fighting Tiamat. You roll a natural 20 to hit it, it loses a head. So it's very strong. Can't read your mind. Can't teleport you. Can't produce you gold. So yes, even though it's a powerful item, it's very powerful at doing the thing it's designed to do. So if that wasn't necessarily the thing it was designed to do, maybe just a remnant of what it can do, then, you know, don't get in your head, you know, that, you know, this item couldn't. No, I don't know how we will.
Was the staff that she had, is that the Tree of Life? Is that the
No, it is not, actually.
Okay. I've been wondering.
So in terms of well, yeah, I just did the same thing.
Smoked my mic.
It's funny because I hit my desk and my mic shook, and then you did, oh jeez, and yours shook. Oh jeez. I will say, in terms of rarity, so you have your common, uncommon, rare, very rare. You have legendary, and then you have artifacts. Hers, I've been calling artifact. It's just a legendary item. Artifacts are like those items of creation.
The hammer,
they're things that
okay.
They don't follow the rules of magic items. Like an artifact could make it so if you put this in water, the world sucks into a dark hole. Like that's an artifact. Like there's no charges. Like they're just so powerful that no one should ever wield them.
Would an artifact potentially cause a town to disappear?
Yes, an artifact can do anything.
Irreparable damage to the arcane weave?
No, didn't say irreparable, but they didn't say unfixable. They didn't say it couldn't. They said it has not yet been.
I said, but it's
Those words mean the same thing.
I'm saying it hasn't been done yet. They didn't say it couldn't be done.
Correct.
But there's a reason there's some weird reason going on that it hasn't been done yet.
Yes.
Because otherwise,
which is the mystery to solve.
Quick question for the DM, if I can just slide in real quick to the DM.
The goddess of magic.
Yeah, slide right in.
Slide into you, brother. When Master Vale whispered about my mission to Therendwell, did anybody else hear that?
Did I, like, as a player, or?
I'm asking. This is directly to the DM.
Oh, they saw him say something. The characters did not hear what was said.
Okay.
Cool. Secret.
I was say, did you want me to talk about that here, or?
We can break it up. Yeah, I just didn't know if we're gonna save it for like role play. But Ecclesias, I had mentioned that I have been to the islands to the west, Therendwell, and I have been to the town, which is just a startup. It's a laughably small town, Illyria. And I was with a group. This is when I was very, very young, or very early on in Esoteric Assembly career. It was a
very large group too, substantially.
Yeah, it was a very large group.
I think I have notes somewhere, but it was like I think like
colony of Esoteric Assembly members.
Yeah, like 10 masters.
10 masters. This is essentially, it was like the equivalent of going to arrest Palpatine. Oh, they should have had more, or just bombed the building. But anyways,
or tried.
or tried, just looked forward. But yeah, the mission to Therendwell that I was a part of, we were transporting an artifact. One of the artifacts of creation.
Interesting.
And Vale was just like, by the way, that's what was in that fucking crazy ass orb box guarded by 10 of the most powerful people all fell me. I'm just like, oh yeah, I was wondering why I wasn't allowed to take off my blindfold.
Yeah, that was a little nugget I'll be honest, again, I didn't think that Ecclesius, unless you're like, hey, what was that? I didn't think you'd ever find out what it was. It's not really important to your guys' story right now. It's a good nugget, but yeah, I was like, it's being directly mentioned, and Vale knew what it was. He'd probably say, hey, remember that's, just kind of put things in context for Ecclesius. Hey, that's what you were, delivering.
Oh.
So I have a question for Jeremy/Ecclesius. I understand Ecclesius' connection. Actually, no, I'm a little bit curious on that. So, you immediately jumped to magical item that caused this rift, and I understand that kind of connection because, like, you deal in magical items, but you also have arcane abilities yourself, and you've, witnessed your masters as well as June's magical abilities, and you know that an individual's magical abilities can be just as potent as some items. So what makes you jump to the conclusion that this rift would have been caused by a magical item and any sort of powerful magic? It doesn't, not necessarily just this whatever caused this rift in the weave, but whenever something powerful that deals with magic, you go, oh, it must have been an item. What causes that?
Ecclesias's logic behind that is that it's unfathomable to me, or to Ecclesias rather, that there are people out there slinging level 10 spells, or 13th level magic is what it's called, god magic pretty much. Because I mentioned before, Ecclesias is also relatively secular, though he's not anti-theist in the sense where he's no, I don't believe any gods exist. I'm just kind of I don't deal with them. I deal with tangible things, and that's the reason why he was proud to be a part of the Esoteric Assemblies, because there are a lot of items that are just scattered throughout the world that are unaccounted for. We know that they might be out there. We gotta hunt them down, because in the wrong hands, even the smallest thing, even a wand of magic missiles to a commoner can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So
yes.
we have to. We have to. We're like archaeologists. We scrape them up. We research. We try to find them, and then when we can catalog them and then sell them to benefit the group, the archaeologists make money digging up bones. Then we can track them, who they're going to. So it seems more plausible to me that there's an incredibly powerful item that is unaccounted for, versus something that Ecclesias hasn't seen or even thought about up until this point. An individual or a group of people that have godlike levels of magic, and also he's more on the secular side where he doesn't think that an actual god is just fucking with us this hard. So that's kind of why he's leaning towards it being an item that somebody's just like, oh, what happens when I do this? And then a town goes missing. Like, ooh, what happens if I focus it or something? That's his logic.
And, one thing just before we extend on that is, while I was doing the recaps and, going through those again, the very first time I even explained the Esoteric Assembly in a recap, I said that Ecclesias was a part of a guild that dealt in the preservation of time, so to speak. And it's that's... They're, just like archaeologists,
timekeepers.
Or, paleontologists. You're preserving time, kind of. And, one
Giovanni
sense.
running your assembly.
Yo. And then I throw a fucking Meowth out with 12 hit points, and then 4 more Meowths with... But yeah, so it's fun to see everybody else's background come into it, which is why I've been talking to Fern about how exciting it is, how it bringing our backstories into the main storyline, and then it genuinely gives great food for role playing when you have June, who's a little sus because sus of other people, because of what happened to you. And now you have Miara, and now you're like, okay, well, the esoteric assembly was sus, but now you're a part of it, so maybe it's not that bad. And then Ecclesias is like, well, it's obviously a fucking item. Like, there's nobody just being like, sim salabim, and poof, there goes an island. And then you have Zio, who's still like breaking out of that shell of being like pampered and still kind of like waning and waxing off of that. But and then like it just, there's so many awesome aspects how we're all coming together in this crazy little weave of a story. And yeah, it can go. I just hope that we all survive to see the end of it and make it through our little backstory stuff, because we keep forgetting that that's an option, that we could just fucking straight up
Oh, I don't forget. Yeah,
Again.
no, I have anxiety about it, like almost every session. Like, is this it? Is this my last day?
But with that, we did do some awesome tactics, specifically us three for Vovek.
Yeah.
This is the cool table. Forever.
Is everybody is everybody lagging, or is that just me?
Just you.
Just you.
I'm not getting any lag.
Yeah, audio's fucky.
Fine on my end.
But yeah, the biggest thing is like I agree with everything that you said, Jeremy.
Still doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
Do you need to restart
Still doing it?
Discord real quick, or throw
Um,
up your
Well, hey,
back
chat,
screen
is
real
it all
quick and-
audio crappy in the? Can you guys hear it in the?
Are we
just on our end
lagging?
in Discord?
nah, it's definitely going up. Hold on, let me
Oh.
throw up a screen really quick.
Don't burn us alive! Don't burn us alive! Did you do it? I don't know when the bit's happening.
We burned you alive.
Oh.
Wait, it's fixed? Alright, now let's go back to exploring. Alright, we're good.
You
Sorry
burnt us
about
alive
that.
Okay.
We're good.
Soot on my
Yeah.
face.
Think of a
Okay.
couple more questions, yep.
Okay. Before we think of move on to other questions, I just want to say that I agree with what everything that Jeremy said, and that even from like the moment that you started bringing Kane, like Zio's mentor, into the story, it just like builds like a deeper connection to the character that you're as a player, the character that you're playing, to the story itself, and to the world that you've made, Anthony. And I think that you are like you mentioned that when you started this episode that not a whole lot happened last episode, but honestly I had so much fun just being
Lord Dookie done.
getting lore dookied, and it was great. And but a big part of that was that a character from the character that I've created's backstory is brought to life by you, and being able to have that little tidbit of kind of imagination meld with you is super fun. And yeah, you can lore dookie all day if you want, as long
Well, I'm glad
as
you
my
enjoyed.
backstory people are involved.
My favorite
Dookie on
thing
his DM.
when I was typing up
Lord
my
Dookie.
session notes, my favorite thing was when I was typing up Miara's description. I loved it. I loved what she was wearing.
no,
Just
she's
the
amazing.
yeah.
She's
No, I
amazing.
enjoyed it. That was really fun.
I love her.
And yeah, I'm glad I kind of changed how I did my session notes. And I'm definitely going to keep doing that for the future because it kind of keeps my head up more on track. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So, what I wanted to say about all of that was, I feel that I'm a bit spoiled in that aspect, because I want to say, damn near everybody in Zio's backstory, the party has met now.
That's
So,
fun,
like,
though.
yeah, what I'm saying is, I get it's a lot more than, obviously, like, Cthulhu or Uridan, and now you're kind of getting to feel the excitement that I get as soon as Anthony starts describing a character, and you're like, I know who this is!
Little taste.
Yeah, so it's awesome, and I'm glad that I got to experience so much of it so early on. But yeah, it's pretty damn great.
Well done. Well
You haven't
done.
met no one
Thank
ever,
you.
Shadow.
Well, I will say, don't think just because people have met your backstory that your backstory ain't gonna be brought in anymore. I'm just gonna keep
Yeah, it is
plugging
fun
at
when
those
like, you know,
heartstrings.
especially like I can see your face light up, Jess, when. Oh,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you were
yeah.
frozen for a sec. Okay.
Well, the stream isn't. But is the stream still going for you guys? Can you still watch the
Yeah.
It
stream?
paused
here?
for a second.
Yeah.
Now it's going.
Okay, there we go. Man, internet. Maybe we should be ripping up or something. I don't know what's happening.
We're about at that point.
I was gonna say,
anyway.
does anyone have any other big questions? If not, I have one final one we could end on.
I did remember the second part of that little spiel that I meant to say that I didn't say. It goes off of what Jess said of, you said that not a lot happened last session, but I think last session was probably one of my favorites just because of, how much fun things we got to experience. Just the session ended and I just had a giant smile on my face, It was a lot of fun.
Good.
So
I'm
couldn't tell.
I'm glad. Yeah, we couldn't tell. One day that Tumblr will be gone.
Yeah.
It's in your hands, dude. Just do it.
Holding out hope. I'm still holding out hope. That one
It'll
day
never happen.
I can see Jake's sweet face.
One day, hopefully.
Once we reach like 1,000 followers.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I forgot about that. We're like 1,000 followers, and then we're like, oh.
Come on. What about 200?
But
200.
because it was brought up, I just want to dive into the thought of, what if you guys had to fight Isaac, Vale, Miara, Kane, and I had to round out that party some other way, right? For a battle royale of the 6 of you. I had to get 6.
Yeah, we've had to fight Yusuf. Zio.
Yeah. He'd be like,
Damn, that would be
good.
Zio would kill Yusuf first.
What if Kane is like, what if Kane's like, nah, he just makes wine. I'm upgrading to the kid with a fucking shipping yard in his backyard and goes and trains Leo.
Oh. Cool.
L's are way better than Z's.
So I think that it would be a ton of fun and some great,
It'd be so fun.
I want to say storytelling.
One shot
but
idea. I'll just,
Yeah, that would be a ton of fun to see a party that used to be a party for our current party, especially with how closely tied they are. But
Shit.
How many
God,
times?
Yeah.
How many times during the fight would
Shit.
every one of them be like, "I taught you all you know, not all I know."
Oh.
Rah!
Just
Literally,
gonna say
each one of
that.
us would get that.
We
that
would
part
all
out.
be quoting stuff. When I last met, I was but the learner, and now I'm the master.
Exactly.
Honestly, though,
Counting
let's get
on
some.
it.
Who wants to play a one shot with us and play our mentors and
But not to get too far
Probably
off
just
the
murk us.
question, like that would be awesome. But not to get too far off the question, I think it would please just have to be pushed really far and have substantial evidence against Vale, or if Vale just straight up started whipping spells at him. It'd be in
Fireball,
defense.
just straight to
Yeah,
his
it'd be-
face.
Dodge!
Good morning, Ecclesias.
Dodge! Why didn't you dodge?
Yeah, so I'd be pushed pretty far. I'd imagine that'd be most of your guys' thought, and at least for just that, like you'd have to be pushed pretty far to have to start straight up attacking them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
June's like, I'd attack Kane tomorrow. Drop a crumpet. I'll dare
Kane,
you.
maybe. Yeah. Kane, maybe. Miara, not so much.
Murder
But
hobos.
yeah,
I knew
like
it when
I
signed
said,
on.
I am soft sus, and I stick to that phrase because it perfectly describes the way that I feel. And yeah, if
Little stitches.
something comes along that there's like concrete evidence, there would have to be concrete evidence of like her involvement.
Yeah,
or
just
her-
like
of
Jeremy
them
with Master
knowing,
Vale.
yeah,
Yeah.
like them knowing about it and being a part of it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, the first step as far as like having concrete evidence as the organizations themselves would be talking to those mentors
Right.
and finding out where they stand or if they know and what goes on there. So
No.
I got a question for you. Do you need concrete evidence that our mentors are parts of these organizations, or do you need evidence that these organizations are as shitty as you think they are?
that's what I was saying, is that there would need to be concrete evidence first as far as like what we suspect of the organizations and their intentions, and then it
That
like
they
I was
knew
saying,
about it.
that our mentors knew about it and were
Okay.
part
Yep.
of it.
But still, would you just go straight up attacking him, or
No, and that's what I said is I wouldn't do that. And when I say that I would attack Kane, I'm joking.
Kane would
like I
sit your
said,
ass down.
there
He
would
would
need
he'd
there
sit.
would need to be yeah, he's probably like level
Sit.
20. There would just need to be, like I said, first evidence of what we suspect of the organizations, and then a conversation and evidence as far as our mentors being directly involved and knowledgeable about what was happening, if it is something that is not something that we are for.
So I was planning on having that be our last question, but I thought of one that's funnier. I can't dive into the whole thing. It involves Uridan sneaking into Zio's room.
Oh my
But
God.
a funny question, because that could go into a lot of things on what Zio thinks.
Yeah.
But the one thing I want to know what Zio thinks. Jay, what does Zio think about Leo catching Uridan coming out of your room? I guess, Jay, what do you think about it?
Yeah,
Because Zio
Zio
didn't
wouldn't
see
know
it.
Yeah. I think that's hilarious. I'm not sure exactly what to think. I think, I don't know, maybe Leo could find a way to turn that around and use it against me. Maybe he could make me doubt Uridan. But as Zio, like, if
I love that
Uridan,
stuff though.
if he wanted to sneak into my room, I would just, if he asked me beforehand, I would have been like, yeah, like, go ahead.
Just ask,
like,
bro.
here's,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll go unlock it for you. Like,
Yeah, and
what-
now Leo's going to be like, oh
He's
yeah, you hate
practicing.
me? Well, guess what? You can't even trust the people going through your shit at night.
Yeah.
yeah,
This fucking guy, I swear to God.
it's
I
the
love him.
opposite of Nif. It's
Like-
karma. That's what's
like-
happening.
Yeah.
The freaking like way that I picture Leo's face is just like somebody that you just want to punch. Like you just want to
He
Just
has
like
the
kid
same
from
face
Hancock.
as
as who.
his dad,
Yeah.
because yeah, I want to punch his dad in the face. So that makes total sense now. Okay.
People can have an attitude. I'm sure Zia was all that. I'm so high and mighty. I got a personal
Leo's are
trainer.
greasy.
Yeah, we can't rule
That's the
out
thing.
Zio being a fuck boy. Maybe Leo is like, you know how it's like the whole story of Red and Blue. I don't know another Pokemon reference, but how there's a whole story about how like Blue is actually like, you know, he's the downtrodden because he's trying to like win Grandpa's respect, who doesn't even remember his name, and he like works really hard because this random person who's not like, you know, Professor Oak's kid, that he gets to that whole Elite Four and you beat him before his grandpa shows up, and he's just like, I know you're gonna do it, you fucking piece of shit. So maybe Zio pushed Leo to become who he is, and now Leo's
But
just
the
like, look,
entire
man.
time he's such a fucking jerk.
I know, I'm
So-
derailing it. I
Well,
like Zio.
on that note, I feel like that is a good place to stop with Leo being a greasy man.
He's a greasy man. I just want to add one more thing. I just love the fact that Uridan was trying to like be a shithead and invite Leo to mess with Zio, and it
And then
bit him in
Isaac,
the ass.
that is
Yes.
true. Because Isaac's like, well,
Fucking
he
love
is
it.
pretty rich, so he will probably just be there.
And he's
just
one of
love
the
it.
noble families. So.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was, I was talking to Anthony about
Oh, I
this,
forgot
but
about
the
that.
entire time that he was out searching for people to invite and all of that. I knew as soon as he walked in, or because he was saying beforehand how he wanted to invite Cornelio, and like I knew in my head, like he's coming, like
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
that
that
he
was
went
something
up
we-
to, I was like,
I was gonna say-
oh, they're already invited.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
that
already
exactly, because that's something we said off camera. Was I was like,
Mhm.
the 5 noble houses, you already know they're probably the first name on the guest list. So it's like the Cornelios are being there. You know what I mean? Unless like they had something to do, they're invited. So
The only one you weren't expecting was Yusuf.
It's true.
Yeah.
But on that note, we are going to wrap today's episode of Exploring the Archives, episode 15, discussing a dynamic, suspicious duo. Sorry. Suspicious duo. Make sure that you tune in on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern for chapter 38 of the Arcane Archives, the Falbian chapters. We'll be back for our regular timing to see what happens. You are welcome, Whimsy. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you're doing amazing. We'll definitely be in the stream or in the Discord afterwards. So if you want to come and hang out and talk about the new game that I'll probably be streaming tomorrow, so keep a lookout. We can do that. The new
Do you
world
want to
game.
drop any hints on dates on the Arcane recap, or do you want to wait until we just drop them?
Next couple weeks.
Sick.
I want to get the other ones filled before I'm like, all right, here now 4 weeks we got the next
We
one.
gotta
Up.
get to them quick. It's just gonna be like if I like am lazy for a week and a half. Now I have like triple the work with videos because we're like pumping out videos. More.
Right. So, well, Shay, I'm hopping back into level with you. Take care, everybody. We will see you Friday for chapter 38 of the Arcane Archives. Take care, everybody. Much love. Bye bye.